watching Morning at NTV.
Good morning. Welcome back to Morning at NTV. My name is Malaki Vilodera. So have you grabbed the copies of the dailies yet? So this is what you're going to see. Yes, it's all about the PLE examinations for you to get to see who was the top pupil, who are the top pupils, what are the best performing schools in 2018. That will be the conversation today here on Kickstarter, and we'll get to know what are these issues that we're raising, of course, coming from the Ministry of Education, and what solutions can we forge moving forward with regards to this. And so in studios to talk about that and to break this down is Madam Mary Goretti. She is the Toweza country lead. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mala. And good morning, viewers.
You're welcome. Good morning. So let's get to this. And this time round, students seem to have performed really well, as much as there were also issues to do with exam malpractice. Now, according to the Ministry of Education, there were more pupils passing in Division 1 in 2018, of course, these examinations. And this number is 77,133 compared to 2017, where the number was 57,198. Meaning there's something right that is being done by the Ministry of Education and all the schools, so to speak. So what are these positive factors that were actually taken up in 2018 that were not there in 2017?
So, yeah, thank you very, very much. First of all, I congratulate all kids who did very well, and their teachers and the parents. And for me, actually, this shows that the combined effort of all key stakeholders. Yes, the ministry is the lead, but there's so many stakeholders involved in education. The kids themselves, the development partners, the parents, the teachers. So when all of us actually put together our efforts and thoughts to ensure that children are not only in school but learning,
right,
you can start getting results. I mean, the process of improving learning is gradual. Change takes a long time, and sometimes it can fluctuate. So don't be surprised that maybe when we come back next year, the results have changed. I hope they don't, that we have an upward trend, an upward kind of trend.
Right.
Kids' learning is actually improving. But for the last couple of years, and this was actually informed by assessment results, which showed that kids are in school but not learning. We are putting much focus on getting them into school, giving them putting infrastructure in school, but we are giving lesser attention to actually what happens to them when they go to school. Are they learning? And actually the key stakeholders have listened. If you look at the Ministry of Education recent interventions and with support from development donors, there's now a lot of focus on improving the foundations of learning, starting from the basics, talking about literacy, talking about the numeracy, because those are the key foundations for further learning. There's a lot actually happening by development partners like DFID, like USAID. There are so many, and also other civil society organizations putting their efforts into ensuring that kids are actually getting these foundations.
right.
I tell you, we still have a long way to go, but we actually celebrate every sign that there's improvement that is happening.
Right, right.
I mean, yeah.
And of course, as much as this year the students performed equally well and way better, beg your pardon, than 2017, there were issues as well, issues that I'd like us to actually reflect on by taking a look at this particular story. This is where the First Lady, Her Excellency, of course, and also the Minister of Education here in the country, what she had to say with regards to exam malpractice. Let's take a look.
Today, the Education Ministry has officially released the results of the 2018 primary leaving examinations. During the release of the exams, the Executive Secretary of the Uganda National Examination Board, Dan Odongo, revealed that 5 schools in Bondibujo district had reportedly engaged in acts of exam malpractice. According to Odongo, these schools charged parents 50,000 shillings each to facilitate this exercise, and teachers were found writing answers on blackboards for their candidates. First Lady Janet Museveni has expressed dismay at this information, noting that such acts not only discredit the country's education system, but also affect the morality and ethics of the teaching profession.
The fact that perpetrators are teachers, Put in charge of our children is a serious affront to the ethics and integrity of the teaching profession.
Mrs. Museveni added that the cabinet is in the process of reviewing the UNEP bill, which is aimed at curbing such practices. She adds that the bill will soon be sent to Parliament for debate and possible enactment into law.
The UNEP bill has already been drafted and will soon get cabinet approval before going to Parliament.
However, she also urged parents to take an interest into the education of their children by taking them to schools that meet ministry standards. She added that they should also closely monitor the registration process to ensure that their children are registered for UNEP exams. She pledged a crackdown on schools that don't meet the basic standards.
It's important for parents to know what type of schools their children are really getting the education from early enough. Instead of waiting to have these reports at the last minute when the children have not sat exams, when others have finished exams. So I encourage parents to always ensure that they check the status of the schools to which they enroll their children, or even on whether their children have actually been registered or not.
She pledged a crackdown on schools that don't meet the basic standards. Mrs. Museveni has also issued a stern warning to heads of schools and teachers who are regularly absent from school, arguing that this was affecting the country's education. According to a study by Sauti za Wananchi last year, 63% of the people who took part in this research concluded that it was the responsibility of head teachers to ensure that teachers fulfill their duty of teaching students. 11% believe that it is the responsibility of the district inspector of schools, while 8% believe that it is the responsibility of school inspectors and parents respectively. Meanwhile, 7% believe that it is the responsibility of district education officers, and 6% think the responsibility lies with the central government, while 2% don't know. UNEP chairperson Professor Mary Ukwakwol has revealed that they are now looking into the use of technology to enhance education security and the integrity of examination results.
Has also piloted the use of electronic locking devices on 30 containers. These measures, along with regular sensitization of stakeholders on the evils of malpractice, will greatly enhance examination security and the integrity of our examination results.
The school selection process of Senior 1 candidates will start next Thursday on the 24th of January and conclude on the 25th of January at Oma Showgrounds. Senior 1 students will be expected to report for the new term on the 18th of February. Joyce Nakato, NTV Tonight.
So guys, you have heard what the Minister of Education, Madam Janet Museveni, had to say with regards to how the government plans on fighting exam malpractice. Madam Goretti, government is actually planning to get a new law to whip exam cheats, and now this is actually going to be, presented to Parliament very soon. Is that a solution enough to this vice?
Well, I mean, there is no one solution to such an issue, but I think it's a big step that needs to be put in place. So government has to show commitment that they are working hard to ensure that that is actually eradicated, because it's a very big problem. But it is going to take the effort of everyone involved in this process of teaching and learning and examinations to actually remove it completely. We need to ask ourselves, why are actually schools or teachers or children, actually including the involvement of parents, actually cheating? Look at how the education system is structured. Look at the competition within the system, the commercialization of education. But for me, I think the biggest driver here is the lack of confidence among those teaching themselves and the parents that actually their children did not learn.
Let me ask you a question, because many have been saying that the reason as to why we are having exam malpractices year in, year out, and Madam Janet Museveni actually said that the key perpetrators to this is the teachers. So is it just a matter of values, or it's a matter of remuneration, that the teachers could be, are not being paid enough, and so they look at other means as to where they can get an extra back? Could that be the issue?
I think it's quite a number of factors involved in this, but for me, I think the issue of values is also very, very strong in here. The issue of money, for me, I don't want to even make it an issue, because within that location where the malpractice happened, you might find that there's a school next door where actually teachers are paid much less, but they didn't cheat. Actually, I mean, little money is not a driver to cheat. So it's lack of values within the system that actually people would get what they want through cheating. But we don't know actually the damage that we are creating on these kids, that right from primary, they are getting their success. I mean, if they were not caught, it's also possible that there are a few who are not caught.
Right.
I hope not. But these ones could also have gone through the system without being caught, and they know that actually for you to achieve, you have to cheat. These are the people you find in banks also actually cheating. So it's an issue of values. It's an issue of somebody knowing that I didn't do my job. But it's also, how do we ensure that we have an examination system that is structured in such a way that actually it reduces the malpractice. So if, for example, the examination system, I don't know if we shall ever reach this, it's a process. I know the process has started to also rethink and reform our education and examination system in particular. If the questions are set in such a way that kids are asked to demonstrate what they are able to do, it's difficult for you to cheat for me to demonstrate what I'm able to do, or what I have become, or what I know.
Right.
But if the system is about, for me, reproducing and recalling what I studied, then you recall for me because you are the one who taught. So we need quite multiple approaches to ensure that this is eradicated. Applying the law is one of them.
Right.
But ensuring that also the examination system does not promote that somebody actually cheats for the other, but also rethinking our values as a country and asking ourselves, what do we want actually, what kind of children do we want for this country?
And I like what you said, because now the conversation has been, and this is also based on a report that Weweza did last year, of course coming to the end around November thereabout, and the conversation has been learning versus pushing for good grades. What exactly are we churning out? What type, the quality of students are we churning out from this particular schools? So like you're saying, is we need to relook the entire system and ensure that it's holistic, even how the questions are set.
We do have to, but also it's good that you bring in this dimension, because there's a temptation to just focus on the pass rates. Yes, we know that 91% of the kids actually came out with a grade, you know, whether you passed or you have these so many first grades. But we need to actually ask ourselves, because the question that you ask yourself to the malpractice, the ones who got 3,500, look, the investigations are still ongoing.
Right.
Hopefully some of them will be exonerated. But it's the same thing that you say about these ones who got over 56,000, completely failed. We need to ask ourselves, what happened to the ones who got the first grades, and what did not happen to the 56,000? We need to actually dig deep and ask ourselves, what are the characteristics of those kids who are excelling and those who are not excelling? Because I think now the discourse or the conversation should go beyond the passing. Yes, there have been improvement, to the issue of equity. In education now, we are talking about equitable learning outcomes. You don't want to leave any child behind. You want everybody learning. So you ask yourself, what are the characteristics of these actually who passed? It could be that maybe these are kids who have exposure to ECD, our childhood education. They go to nursery schools. Or the teachers in those schools are more committed. Or look at the urban-rural variations. Look at the regional variations. So we need to go beyond that and ask, because even amongst, for example, the over 77,000 who got first grades,
right,
there are some kids from very poor schools, rural schools. One of the researches that we are doing in Twaweza, we call it positive deviance, is you ask yourself, if there are kids excelling in an environment where almost everybody is underperforming, what is happening in those schools that could be replicated in others.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right, okay. And of course, I want to get your view on this. When you look at the papers, now the New Vision says top 2,000 schools. Just jumping over to the Daily Monitor, they say best schools, top pupils. My question to you would be, in terms of and in the spirit of trying to fight exam malpractice, should we take the route that our Kenyan counterparts took, where we abolish the ranking of both schools and pupils when examinations are out? Will that sort the problem somewhat?
Partly it could. Really partly it could. Because if I recall well, Uganda tried to do this. I think that was during Honorable Namira Bintambazire's time when, I think it had been abolished that we are not publishing league tables in newspapers, and it worked for some time, and then it actually resurfaced. This publishing of results in newspapers and ranking schools and kids actually has a negative and positive impact. The negative side is that it creates very unnatural and very, very bad competition among schools.
Right.
It pushes, people to teach to the test to ensure that they actually hit the league tables. It could have been positive if the ranking was based on another criteria. Say, for example, these schools or kids were ranked on the basis of what the competences or skills that are able to demonstrate.
So the holistic view of the child.
View of the child.
Okay.
That would be a different story. Another way of ranking schools that has actually been implemented and experimented by the Ministry of Education itself through UNEP is what they have called the value add kind of ranking. And this has started at the secondary school level, where you look at the school and ask yourself what kind of value have they added on the kids. If, say, for example, I know that schools are going to compete for those who got aggregate 4 and 5. So when you rank according to who is the best school, some of these who got the best students again. But if you look at what value has the school added on the child, if I got kids of 3rd grade, and by the end of senior 4, most of them have got 2nd grades, it means the school added value.
Okay.
So that kind of ranking would be different from just ranking the best school,
based on the grades. And
based on the grades.
Someone once said that this is, unfortunately, many say that the current curriculum actually promotes the cramming and not the learning, of these particular aspects in the schools. Thank you so much for coming in studios. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, but of course we'll have this conversation again next week, because next week we expect now what will going to be taking place is a selection process. The school selection process will actually take place next week from around Thursday, Friday, 24th and 25th of course, January 2019. Thank you so much, Madam Mary Goretti Toweza, country lead and director right there. Keep your views coming. The hashtag is morning@NTV across all the social media platforms. Do let us know how your children perform. That has been it for Morning@NTV. We welcome you to be part of us every single Monday to Friday from 6:30 to 9 a.m. Have a blessed weekend.
You're watching Morning at NTV.